Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by RK Tractors, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Wasp Archery, Spot Hog Releases, RTP Outdoors, America's Best Bowstrings, Hoyman Tree Saws, and Realtree.
Throw that anchor out.
Well, here it is, November 7th, guys, and Max and I are all set up for our evening hunt. It has been a whirlwind of a day. We got out here midday to check cameras. One of our cameras, we had some good deer on it. Looked like the biggest buck was a 8-pointer with some bladed tines. But the camera I was most excited to check, that's been on that scrape all season, unfortunately it was stolen. I'm not sure when it got taken. It sucks. It's just stupid that you have to worry about that, but it is what it is. Hopefully somebody learned something from that camera and they're enjoying it. So we came to a different part of the lake, and we're on a big ridge that we're hoping to catch these bucks, just cruising, and we know there's a bunch of does that bed near here. So our wind is supposed to be going this way, and it'll kind of lead down to the water, but unfortunately we're getting some kicks all around. And that's just something we always deal with on this spot. There's never really a consistent wind. So that's where we're at today. It's definitely not gone the way that I had intended or hoped, but we're here. So to update you guys kind of what we've been doing the last few days, it's been pretty slow. The 5th of November, Max and I got out on that farm that I killed my buck late season. That's the place I was helping to manage does last fall, and so I'm doing the same thing this year. We're trying to shoot 10. So the morning of the 5th, we actually had a pretty cool encounter with a buck on that farm. Big buck right to the left. Oh, it's a young buck. So yesterday we were out on the same piece that we hunted Sunday in that same stand, and when I left the stand on Sunday I put out a camera and luck would have it, just at probably 50 minutes after we left on Sunday, we had a really big deer come right by the mock scrape that I made there. So that was unfortunate. A really cool buck. It's awesome to get pictures of him, but I just wish I would have stayed in that stand for another hour, because he would have been at 10 yards. We still got quite a few hours left. It's the best day of the year, November 7th. I know a bunch of guys around the state have been having good hunts, and we're going to see if we can't get on that wagon. So it's pretty sunny right now. It's hard to see anything, but as it gets later into the evening, I think I'm going to give calling a go if we can get this wind straightened out a little bit. And hopefully we just got luck on our side and we can get a buck to cruise through and see what happens. But it does feel good to be in a tree, and we're going to see what happens by the end of the night. Are you on him? Is he a shooter? Would you kill him? You would. Release him. I don't have my release him. Careful, careful. Just careful. He's looking at us. I gotta wait to give you the bow. Here comes something. See it? No, it's a different buck. Big buck, big buck, big buck. No, you shoot him if you can. You see that buck? They're walking the other way. Yeah, where's he at? I can't see over there. The sun's so bad. That's a spike, isn't it? Isn't that a spike? Well, it's about 3 o'clock here, and Max and I's action just went from 0 to 100. Basically, we had a buck. We heard some walking right towards us, and I peeked around this tree in front of me, and it was a good 8-pointer. Not one that I wanted to shoot, so I asked Max if he wanted to shoot him, and he said yes, but the way that we've got this camera arm set up is kind of weird for where that buck came from. And so I was trying to give Max the bow, and he told me he didn't have his release on, so I took my release off, gave it to him, and then we got the bow switched around. But unfortunately, this buck, like I mentioned earlier, our wind's kicking, and it was going right towards him, and he got a little bit of something and just stomped off probably to 40 yards. So he got the camera to me, and as I was trying to get the exposure right for him, because he's in the shadow, like I mentioned, it's super sunny, out of nowhere came a doe running, and all we could hear was grunting, and there's a stud behind her. I don't think we got any footage of it, and that's my bad. I couldn't see them in the camera because it was so bright from what I exposed for on the other buck. But they ran across the ridge that way. But we've got a hot doe in here, it looks like. So, I don't know. That's a buck I'd kill. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we can't show him to you. Looked like just a big 10, but man. Max has his release on now. I've got mine. And we've got a couple hours left, but that was awesome. That's cool to see a buck we'd kill, and hopefully that doe will bring him right by us in the next few hours. Oh, it's always this way. Now what? Just looking. Well, it's about 5 o'clock here, and it's been a really good evening. We just had an encounter with what appeared to be a mature buck. He had a really gray, big head, and he came from that same spot that the 8-point from earlier did. I noticed him because he was working a scrape down there, and I thought he was going to walk right up here. But he got to probably 45 yards, and our wind's just been swirling throughout this whole spot. There's definitely a lot of deer in here. And what I think we're going to have to do now, because we're getting a south wind starting tomorrow in the morning, which will blow it directly towards where those deer are coming, is we're going to have to tear the set down and move it about 90 yards up the ridge, closer to the top. So we're going to sit here for probably another 10 minutes and then try to quickly tear down everything and then get over there so we can at least see if we can shoot from one of those trees. And then that way we don't have to set it in the morning. It's pretty awesome. First time in here this year. And we've seen 3 bucks that we borderline would shoot. Good day on November 7th for sure. But hopefully tomorrow brings just as good of action.